Yeah, well, cheers to that. COVID cheers.
COVID cheers.
This is going to be our new thing.
Yeah, I'm into it. Welcome back to the WPG Winedown. I am Mark Adam. I'm back with Alex Allardyce, not Sommelier, is very pretentious. Le prétentieux. I know that's. I actually speak French. That was terrible. I'm sorry to the French community. We are back talking about wines. Yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
Go take these off.
Oh, that'll make it way easier to taste wine. Yeah.
Every time.
I forget.
Yeah. So today we're back to a white. So we have tasted so far the Decibel New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Mm-hmm. We have tasted the Cuvée de Gallet from Côte d'Aron, red. Mm-hmm. And now
the natural one.
The natural one, yeah. So now we are back to white because I like white wine and I felt like drinking white today. So you're along for this ride with me.
I'm into it. We have had people asking while you open this. We have had people ask us about the tasting, like the pairings for the wines that we're doing.
Oh yeah, like food pairing?
We sort of halfway touched on it in the last episode.
Right.
But what would you recommend? The very first wine we did, the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. What would you pair with that, food-wise?
You know what, it's funny that we haven't talked about that because I love food and wine pairing. Like I find it fascinating and I love food.
I love alcohol and wine and food pairing.
Yeah, so I find it funny we haven't really talked about it, but Sauvignon Blanc is pretty easy for pairing. It's like when I talk to people about like how do you know what to pair with your wine and food, generally if you're like there's lots of exceptions, but if your wine is kind of light, like crisp, easy drinking, pair it with foods that are also like that. So that was the Sauvignon Blanc, so pair it with foods that are kind of lighter, like crisper, so like salads, like seafood, like a grilled chicken or something, but like lighter foods. So like even like a salad with like grapefruit or green apple, things that really draw those flavors out of the wine.
Because it was quite citrusy that first one.
Yeah, so that's what you can think. So try to find those elements in whatever food you're going to have.
Complementary flavors.
Yeah, exactly.
Would a consideration be, and a lot of people when they talk about pairing beers or wines or whatever with food, they talk about regions. So if there's food from this particular region, pair it with a wine or a beer or whatever you're drinking from that region.
Yeah, so we say what grows together goes together.
Okay.
So then if we're thinking about the Côte d'Aron, I would definitely do, like my first instinct when we were drinking that wine last time, which I don't know why I should have said it, but I was like, oh, I could go for like a charcuterie board, because it was just so juicy and like it was delicious. So I just want to like crush like a bunch of like cheeses and that kind of stuff. But it would also go great with actually like a cassoulet or something. That's from a bit further down south, but so cassoulet, for those who haven't really been to the south of France or whatever.
Never been.
So it's like it's this really kind of old like historic dish they used to make there, but it's like a bean stew and they use like different meats and it's just really warm and hearty. It's quite rich. So that's where something like the Côte d'Aron that we drank would be perfect because it's so fruity, it's kind of refreshing. It almost like lifts up your palate. You don't want a wine that's going to be heavy as well as the food. So that's actually an opposite principle is what I'm talking. First I said
because you could with pairing because I do a lot of beer pairings and stuff, and I've actually gone against some sommeliers in beer versus wine pairing dinners. It was super fun, but. What you want to do is you want to either cut the flavor of something. So if something's very fatty, you want to cut it with some acid.
Contrast,
Or you want to complement. So similar flavors, going with similar flavors. So look for something citrusy if you have a citrusy wine, or an IPA or something that has a lot of citrus to it. Something citrusy would go well with it. Or you can completely go light and heavy. So you go back and forth and refresh your palate. Let's try this one.
Taste? Okay.
I'm ready to. I'm always ready to drink wine.
If you haven't learned anything about Adam yet, he is always raring to go. So today we're tasting Vina Ilusion. This is their Tempranillo Blanco, and so then they're from Rioja in Spain. And so most people who think Tempranillo, obviously, well I say obviously, maybe it's not so obvious, but that is a red grape. Tempranillo is a red grape, and very famous from Rioja. So this is actually Tempranillo Blanco, meaning it is a white.
So they skinned the grapes.
No. when I first heard of this wine, that's exactly what I thought as well. I was like, okay, so they're making a white wine out of a red grape, meaning they just take the skins off. No, that's not what they're doing. This is actually like a mutated Tempranillo. It's literally a white grape that is related to Tempranillo.
Oh.
It's extremely rare.
So Tempranillo Cuisina.
Yeah, so this is
it's a cousin of.
Yeah, this is just like a random. So like really, this is not a testable wine as we call it. The first wine we tasted, the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, that's just a classic. This is just something fun. I just kind of wanted to taste this today.
Awesome.
That's what we're doing.
I'm not being tested on anything officially ever, so.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm done my testing, so now I'm just going to drink what I want.
Good for you. I'm into it. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't actually had this wine before, to be honest. I'm quite excited about it. Again, they're kind of farming organic. They're not quite as natural as the last guys. They just make good wine. It's very intentional winemaking, but yeah, so I'm excited.
Well, this is episode 3, so if you've seen the first 2 episodes, you know how to sort of taste the wine so far. Real quick, clarity, color, intensity.
Yeah. So this one, clear.
Clear.
I would say pale intensity again, probably.
Yeah, and like a yellowy.
Again, like lemon. It's pretty, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So then we smell it.
We're going to swirl.
Oh, we're going to swirl it. Adam skips that part every time.
By the end of this series, you'll get the swirl. And we're going to smell. Oh, interesting. So this is one, when we were talking about the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc in episode 1, we were talking about intensity on the nose and how it kind of came right out at you.
Yeah,
this one, not
you kind of have to go digging for it.
Which is okay. Like, that's not, like, it's not good or bad either way, but yeah, so this is like kind of a milder intensity.
Much milder than the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, for sure. Which isn't really saying much next to New Zealand. but still, yeah, not quite as pronounced. And then what kind of flavors are you getting? This is interesting.
I'm getting...
I've never had a Tempranillo Blanco before, so this is new for me.
All right, excellent. Yeah. So we're learning together. Yay. I'm not behind on the curve.
Yeah.
But it's... I'm getting like a little bit of citrus on it.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah, like lemon, lime.
Yeah, more limey this time than the Sauvignon Blanc was.
Definitely, yeah, I agree. It's more on that side of the spectrum. Remember we were talking about...
More tart,
yeah, like
citrus.
Citrusy fruit, and we have stone fruit in the middle, and then more tropical. This is definitely more towards the citrus kind of side.
Yeah, more tart, less like fruity sweetness.
Yeah.
All right, can we drink it yet?
Yeah, sure. You know, yeah. We can talk about more of the flavors and stuff on the palate, but...
Okay.
So remember, we're going to swirl it all over our mouth like we talked about.
Was I missing anything nose-wise?
There's something else that I'm getting. It's like a, this is going to sound weird, and this is like wine nerd lingo, but it's like cheesy. Like there's something kind of like lactic.
You know what? Now that you say that, I get it.
And like in a really like yummy, it's like a yogurty. It smells like a peach yogurt or something.
Yeah, like you could find this wine in the dairy aisle.
Yeah. Which, without getting too wine nerdy, I was trying to look up the winemaking on this wine actually, and I couldn't find anything for the white, because I think it's kind of a more like rare kind of bottle. They don't always like publish all of the information on it. And now that I have this on the nose, I actually wonder that cheesy, creamy kind of thing. That's what we call malolactic fermentation in wine. So remember in the beginning, the first episode, we talked about fermentation is just how you make wine. So it's grapes, the sugar in the grapes get turned into alcohol.
By the yeast.
Right. And so sometimes in wine, there's a second fermentation that can happen, and it's just different bacteria in the wine. So it changes, again, I'm not a scientist, so I might be explaining this somewhat wrong, but it changes the, it's like the acidity in the wine. It goes from malic acid to lactic acid. If I'm wrong, someone tell me in the comments. But
I am not going to correct her.
Anyway, so it's like if you think about the difference between a Pinot Grigio and a Chardonnay. Chardonnays are big, buttery, creamy. That's because they've
aged.
It's gone through malolactic fermentation. So instead of being really bright, linear, the acidity is being softened, and it has that creamy, like cheesy kind of quality.
Does that come from like the oak? Is that
no? That's literally just that fermentation process.
Is that really
yeah,
okay?
It just gives
so that butteriness of a Chardonnay doesn't come from the oaking.
No, it's the vanilla and this. We should taste the Chardonnay too. We have so many ideas.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's oak is when you get like toast, vanilla, spice. That's oak. If you're getting yogurt, cheese, creaminess, that's just malolactic fermentation, and they do that just to kind of soften the wine.
Which
Which I don't know that that's what's happening here, but that's what my nose is telling me.
And you know what? I've sort of started sipping on it, and I would agree that I'm getting that on my tongue too.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm with you there. I have a problem with waiting to drink my drink. It's in my hand, and I'm
Once
all
it's
like,
in front of you, yeah.
here it is.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah. But this is cool because I don't know much about this grape, and we were talking about last time when I see like Côte d'Aron on a wine label, I'm already starting to think like, okay, it's probably going to be fruity. It's going to be this, this, and this. If I'd seen Chardonnay, I'm going to be thinking, okay, probably it's going to go through Malo, so I'm going to expect these creamy. I've
Buttery.
never had a Tempranillo Blanco, so I don't even know what is the typical winemaking for it. I don't know that there is a typical winemaking. Whatever these guys are doing, probably the typical, because they're one of the only people doing it.
Fair. And if you know anything about it, put it in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so this is really cool actually. What about, okay, so we're on the palate, so I'm getting sidetracked, so I'm excited about this. So what do we say, it's dry? Probably, eh? Look at you being all wine tasty nerdy.
I'm just trying not to get drunk. I want my girlfriend not to be mad at me.
You're on the wrong show then, man. Just kidding.
The wrong co-host for sure.
Yeah,
You're
definitely. Yeah. But yeah, I would say it's dry, right?
I would, yeah.
And then
My mouth is watering.
yeah,
Like I have to swallow a whole bunch.
the acidity, yeah, definitely, probably less. I think this has less acidity than the Sauvignon Blanc,
Yeah.
but it's still quite a bit. It's a high acid wine, definitely. It's fresh. Like
Yeah, it's
my mouth
crisp.
is
It's like
yeah,
yeah. But and the feel of it, like it's light.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
I like it.
This is a cool wine. Okay,
This is
so
very cool.
we started talking about food pairing. So what are we gonna pair with this then?
Ooh, man, I would crush pan-seared haddock with this.
Yeah, I like that actually. You squeeze a bit of
Like lemon?
Yeah.
100% to sort of balance that liminess, like
Yeah.
because you get that citrus note, but you want to bring it back a little
Yeah.
from the tart.
Yeah, I like that. And even to kind of play on like a touch of like creaminess in here, if you wanted to do like some kind of like sauce on top of that, like even like a beurre blanc, or like some kind of like buttery like cream sauce,
Ooh.
just to kind of like play with that element in the wine.
You know what would be good here is also like a fettuccine alfredo, like a chicken alfredo.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Right, like because it got that creaminess, but there's enough not creamy about this where it's
fresh
complementing,
enough.
but it's
Yeah.
but it's going to cut through the fattiness.
Actually, yeah, that's really interesting because this almost has the best of both worlds. So yeah, if we did do a dish like a fettuccine alfredo, we could contrast the flavors because yeah, there is a bit of a brightness to this wine that would cut through the richness, but it does have a bit of creaminess that would also lend well to that too.
Yeah, so I think that would be a great pairing. I think it's like a chicken alfredo.
Yeah, I'm
right.
into that for sure.
What are we having for supper?
Yeah. On that note, we're hungry.
I'm not hungry. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
This is yummy wine.
Yeah.
This would go really well with I think a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if I had my pick, like what I'm thinking, what first jumps to my head is like a really flavorful whitefish or the chicken alfredo, like I said.
Totally. Yeah. Well, cheers to that. COVID
Cheers.
cheers. That's
COVID
gonna be
cheers.
That's gonna be our new thing.
Yeah. I'm into it. Awesome. So thanks for joining us this week. We will be back next week. It'll be our Christmas episode next week.
Christmas.
Yeah, because they're mid-December right now, and it's a good time. So, getting ready for your Christmas. You got a good Christmas wine picked?
We're gonna pick out something real good for Christmas. Break out the decanter.
Oh, we're gonna decant some wine for Christmas.
Yeah.
All right.
We got it in the works.
I'm very into that. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
I'm Mark Adam. This is Alex Allardyce, our resident somm. You're watching the WPG Winedown.
Yeah.